Production support for the weekly special is provided by
Smithville Communications, serving southern Indiana with high-speed fibre gigabit internet for businesses, hospitals and homes. Smithville Fibre Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement.
IU Credit Union, now offering mobile access to IU Credit Union accounts, helping account holders check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills through their mobile devices. Available through the IU Credit Union apps for iPhone and Droid. The Al Cobine Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobine to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.
It's a perfect time for reflection and resolutions, and we've got some inspiring Hoosier stories to kickstart your year. Travel to Nashville to meet a carpenter who has put his skills to work in a very unlikely way. Discover Indiana's newest artisan trend with a company guaranteed to warm your spirit. And welcome the innovative jazz originals of Mitch Shiner and the Bloomingtones. So snuggle up, get comfortable, and stay tuned for a very relaxing weekly special. Hello and welcome to the weekly special. I'm Daryl Neer. As winter rages, Hoosiers across the state are bracing themselves for winter storms, buying supplies, chopping firewood. But our next featured artist, what for most is a dreaded winter chore, is an opportunity for art.
I really thought when I was coming out of high school I was going to go into science. Art was like the last thing that I thought I would do. As you start life and things aren't exactly how you think they're going to be, you kind of find your way one way or another, and this must be what I was meant to do. I just think it's probably like in our blood, a lot of the art, you know, so it just kind of finds you eventually. My great-great-great-grandfather was a famous sculptor at Notre Dame. The woodworking came from just being a carpenter, you know. Having extra pieces of wood at night, and I would just take it and kind of mess with it in the garage. Something just told me I needed to do this, you know, and I'm just pretty stubborn. Once you set your wills to go do something, you know, you just got to go do it, and I just haven't looked back since then. Using tools, you kind of get a sense of how things push and pull. And that's one of the main things, you know, you got to know how the chainsaw turns and everything, and when it's all about the different pressures and stuff, and if you push too hard, then it's jumping on you, and if you don't push hard enough, then it ain't cutting. It's definitely practice, and you have to do it almost every day, because as soon as you back off and take off a few days, then you regress. Once I started using it, it just became a part of me, you know. Most carvers do draw something on the piece, but I don't. I just kind of get a kind of a picture of what I'm working with and just kind of start. A big part of it is when you're a carpenter and you're cutting these pieces of wood and stuff, you develop a picture in your head of what's going on. You know, it's like you can visualize yourself in the room and where these pieces got to go. So you're actually just looking in your head. So if you use it all day long, every day for 15 years, then you can just kind of look in there and be able to see. You know, it's kind of a vision. I usually start on the top and kind of work my way down from there. But just kind of blocking out areas. But now I can already see right to where I need to go. And each time it gets a little bit closer. Each year, like I have more confidence going a little bit closer without getting out of proportion. I like doing the big things, and I like to go off on a tangent and do what I want to do as an artist. Like, I always knew I wanted to do a full-size horse. It was just a matter of waiting for that piece of wood, you know, and as soon as I got it, I was like, all right, there's the horse. I always try to push myself, so everywhere I look, I'm seeing and getting little flashbacks of things I see, and some things just stick out to me, you know, and I remember them. To see the progress of what you can make in one day. With this kind of stuff, it happens fast, so you feel like you did something that day. And you can take credit for it yourself, so. It's awesome, you know. I think it's pretty cool, definitely. It makes me feel like, you know, what I've done is fulfilling. It makes me realize that this is what I want to do, you know, for the rest of my life, and that I'll enjoy it.
To see more of Chris's incredible art or to learn how you can watch it live, visit his website, woodcarvernashville.com, or call his workshop at 317-384-4091. While Chris is bringing his wooden wonders to Hoosiers across the state, our next subjects are putting Indiana's lumber to use in an entirely different way.
While artisan beverages continue to gain popularity throughout Indiana, a new Bloomington company is hoping to bring an old Hoosier tradition to a new generation.
I think a lot of people like craft beer, and craft beer is delicious, and I enjoy it. But there's just something that I think is really fascinating about distilled spirits. They're a little bit more challenging to make. Can't make them at home. There's just a ton of complexity in the spirits, and I also think it's really neat how almost all over the world there is specific spirits that are special to those locales. I saw that there were other places in the country that were allowing artisan distillers to start up, and so I thought, man, Bloomington would be a great place for a distillery.
Post-prohibition restrictions made it difficult for small distilleries to create a successful business model. With support from breweries and wineries throughout the state, Jeff helped lobby the new legislative measures that opened the doors for locally owned and operated distillers.
Pretty much if you wanted to get going, you had to be a really big company. Prior to the legislation for artisan distilling, you could only sell direct to consumers if you were a farm distillery. If you had a farm and whatever you grew on there, you distilled. And it was really actually limited to just brandy, which is a pretty narrow focus. In fact, it was so narrow there's only one distiller in the state of Indiana from 2001 into 2012 that was at the artisan size. And then in 2012, we were able to get a bill passed that allowed direct sales to consumers as long as you ferment it and distill it on site. So you can't bring in, bulk alcohol from another large distillery and blend it up and put it in a bottle and call it your own. You really have to have a real craft-made spirit.
I feel like that craft distilling movement is part of a larger return to the roots of American manufacturing and getting back to people who are making things with care and love instead of trying to make the most of something the fastest or the cheapest. Craft distilling is a little different in that we have some pretty stiff competition. The whiskey that's made in the country already at the big places is really good stuff. So we're not going to be competing obviously on price, and we're not competing on just quality of a straight bourbon whiskey. We're going to try to do things a little differently. We're going to do things using local ingredients. We're going to do very unique styles of whiskey and gin, things that you couldn't get from a Jim Beam or a Maker's Mark or things like that. I think just spurring innovation is probably the best thing we can do for the larger industry.
The business is helping pave the way for more than just the distilling industry. Cardinal Spirits became one of the first businesses in the country to raise much-needed capital through crowdfunding. Teaming up with Indianapolis-based Local Stake, the business was matched with interested investors across the country.
People like to invest in things that they can hold and touch. And we were able to raise $850,000 from 22 investors. And overwhelmingly, those people are from the Bloomington area. They were able to invest in a company that betters their community and brings a new element to the nightlife here, or helps create jobs, helps add value to the local agricultural community. And I think that's a really powerful thing. We're in southern Indiana, very close to Kentucky, which is known for its bourbon. And I kind of always think about Kentucky, and anything it has, Indiana has more of and better. I mean, we grow the corn for their bourbon. We have a lot of the hardwoods that they use for their barrels. Our water is from that same limestone shelf. So when we make a bourbon, I know it's going to be, as good as any that are made in Kentucky. I think that's going to be really fun for people in Bloomington and Indiana to enjoy.
And I've always liked the idea of doing something from the dirt to the bottle, basically. Growing something, fermenting it, distilling it, and then even flavoring it with stuff we grow. We've leased a plot of land to grow botanicals, basically. So lavender, chamomile, thyme, and we're going to try to do as much of that as we can. And there's also just the fact that you can't actually buy some of the things that we want to use. You can find it in, obviously small quantities at the farmer's market, but if we want to grow enough to flavor a batch of 1,000 gallons, we have to grow it. Those two things are really the most important, just the ability to have something that we normally wouldn't have and the control we have over the quality. Local to me means you're owned by the people who are running the business. I think that that's what most people expect when they hear the words local or craft. We definitely have taken that, I think, as far as we can at this point, and we're just going to keep going with it.
When we look forward to the future of craft distilling in Indiana, we really hope that we can be comparable to the craft brewing. I mean, there are cities with lots of craft breweries. In Bloomington, we have a number of them, and we would welcome more craft distilleries. What we want is people to drink products that are made locally, that are high quality, and that really bring a lot of value to their community. And craft spirits fits right into that. And they're just going to keep getting better, and I know that we'll compete with any state in the country for high quality, locally made spirits.
Cardinal Spirits will be officially opening in February, and for all the latest information, visit their website, cardinalspirits.com. Well, I'm excited to welcome Cardinal Spirits co-founder Jeff Wusselich here. And Jeff, I know you've brought some product for us to try, but before we go there, we may be familiar with the innovations going in craft beer, but this is really about innovation in spirits. And if you could talk a bit about that evolution and direction you're taking it.
Sure. I think American craft spirits is at a really exciting time right now. You're seeing people make whiskey out of different ingredients like spelt and quinoa and different grains. And we'll be doing some of those things here at Cardinal Spirits. Our innovation is really in trying to make a craft distillery incredibly consistent and high quality, but still using a lot of local ingredients.
Well, when we talk about bourbon, you're talking about an aged spirit that
Sure.
takes quite a while to bring to market, but you have some other spirits that you're working on right now that you're going to have for your launch.
Yeah, and we think that vodka and gin, which are unaged products, and also some liqueurs are a great way to showcase some of our local ingredients and our high quality spirits. We brought a vodka here that has a base of grape and grain that we've fermented and distilled to really high proof, and we filtered and bottled for you. And although you can always enjoy clear spirits or any kind of spirits straight, I think that vodka's great with a cocktail. So we brought a version of a Moscow Mule, traditionally served in a copper cup, and it's maybe this is like our Hoosier Mule right now. So if you want to try it, you
Sure.
can. There should be a little bit of a sweetness, some gingerness to it, and then you'll get a little bit of the taste of the vodka as well. Cheers on that. by
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
nice and refreshing.
Yeah, these copper mugs are always nice. Keep it cool.
Well, when we're talking about the opportunities with vodka and gin, I know that there's been a boom in the gin industry as well.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, for a long time, gin was like something your grandmother or some aunt drank, but now there's some really fun, interesting gins out there that use less maybe juniper, that pine needle kind of taste that a lot of people had. Very approachable and great in cocktails or just to sip.
Now, when we start to look at possibilities in expanding in vodka, you talked about the ingredients that you're doing here. Are there options that you're looking to see how this could expand, or other directions that this goes?
Yeah, we'd love to keep expanding our portfolio of gins, vodkas, and liqueurs. And on gins, we have this great idea to have like a great gin day in Bloomington, where we allow people to come in, bring botanicals from the area, and then we distill them and flavor a gin for them, and we kind of get the essence of Southern Indiana on that one day in a bottle.
Well, you are going to be opening very soon, and tell us what we can expect on that opening week.
Yeah, so we'll be open February 7th and 8th to the public. People will be able to come in and get great cocktails and take a bottle home if they want to. We're able to sell directly to consumers, so we're excited about that, and we hope to see a lot of people there.
Now, I know that how much energy and effort has gone into the creation of this facility. How proud of you of that location?
Yeah, we're really excited to be on the Beeline Trail in Bloomington. It's a great new area that's coming up, and we are just so proud of not only our own staff and employees, but just a tremendous amount of contractors in the area, from our architect to the guys that did the steam fitting to the pouring the concrete. We really got to see some really amazing Indiana craftsmen at work.
Well, we appreciate all of your effort to bring this type of leadership in the industry into Bloomington, and thanks so much for coming in and talking with us.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks again, Jeff. And well, I can't think of a more perfect musician to listen to with a glass of Cardinal Spirits. Meet Mitch Shiner.
Say music, but jazz especially began for me in middle school back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. First of all, I really fell in love with drumming as a leader, and also just that music and the intensity of the swing and the rhythm and everything. I really fell in love with that. I feel that the leader of a group, what instrument they play doesn't really matter, but being the drummer, it's easier for me to be the conductor of the jazz orchestra as well as playing the drums. Because a lot of times you go to a classical concert and you see a conductor with a baton standing in front of a big orchestra and they're telling where the time is, but in jazz there's no conductor and it's easier for the drummer to call the shots. I can kind of direct the phrases better from behind the drum kit. The music has changed and become a little bit too small, but I think having a big band, there's really nothing like hearing 15 horn players playing at the same time. And getting to play drums behind that is a huge treat for me. I want to try and expose newer audiences to this big band genre, including people with absolutely fresh ears who have never heard any jazz at all, not 4 beats of jazz. For a modern audience, I think the big band really is a spectacle. Connecting with an audience is really the #1 function of a musician and a performer. A lot of times you go to a show and you not only you love the music and you really like what you're hearing, but also you want to be entertained. You don't go to a show to go to class or go to a museum. If I can help transport an audience member to another place for 2 hours, I've done my job. I feel like having this amazing machine of the big band, people can see and hear what kind of energy is in the room and is between all the players, and it really can impact an audience in a very special way. There is literally nothing quite like seeing 19 musicians on one stage, all playing at the same time, all playing the same music, interacting with each other. It's really, really something special.
And now, Mitch Shiner and the Bloomingtones. Learn more about Mitch's latest album, Fly, as well as upcoming concert dates at his website, shinymusic.com. And we are going to have some neat online exclusives. Watch Chris Trotter carve and listen to more Mitch. It's all at theweeklyspecial.org. Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And once again, Mitch Shiner.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by
Smithville Communications, serving southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet for businesses, hospitals and homes. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement.
IU Credit Union, now offering mobile access to IU Credit Union accounts, helping account holders check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills through their mobile devices. Available through the IU Credit Union apps for iPhone and Droid. The Al Cobine Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobine to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.